That trailer was peak. I have absolutely zero complaints. Don't mind the flowers in the back. I have a wedding that me and my fiance are decorating for October, so those will be there for a while, but hey, we make do, don't we? I did want to come back on here and get back into the discussion space because of the trailer alone is just kind of reignited a spark in me to make videos again. And I just keep thinking about it. I mean, like, I've seen this trailer probably like 40 times already, I'm not going to lie. But the main thing I want to talk about is because I've done my theories about Brand New Day already. I've done a couple videos on those already, but I want to talk about the future after Brand New Day because I think this could be a great trilogy. You can make it work with a trilogy. And I think with 2 more movies after that, what's a good storyline that you could build up to with Peter Parker, and where does he go from Brand New Day? Obviously, this is pre-Brand New Day. We haven't seen the movie. We don't know what's going on in the movie, but this is just kind of like my guess on where they're going to go with this trilogy if they make 2 more movies. I personally would love to see a Hobgoblin storyline adapted for the sequel to Brand New Day. I think Jacob Batalon as Ned Leeds as Hobgoblin would be a very interesting take, or even the possibility of Ned Leeds being framed as Hobgoblin and Spider-Man has to protect him from the actual Hobgoblin would be a very interesting storyline to go with. I don't know. That guy's suspicious. Maybe he's the Hobgoblin. Yeah, maybe he's the Hobgoblin. A sequel with Hobgoblin would be cool. I even wouldn't mind throwing an extra villain in there. I wouldn't use a big one, but I just feel like we are running out of movies with Tom Holland Spider-Man, and using the villains that we have left is like a necessity before Sony gets a hold of them and decides to make solo movies about them, right? So for the sequel of Brand New Day, I am pitching the idea that the villains for this sequel will be Hobgoblin and Mr. Negative. So we could see a little bit of issue with Mr. Negative being simply because we're getting obviously a mind-controlled villain. I don't know what to label Sadie Sink's character as. Is she Jean Grey? If she's Jean Grey, she's not a villain, then she shouldn't be a villain. But like an issue to Spider-Man's life. So already having that mind power thing in this movie could make us not get Mr. Negative in the sequel. But still having that Hobgoblin storyline would be a cool addition to the story. If you make Ned the villain, or if you make someone framing Ned, both work. I think Ned is obviously now going to have a very different approach to Peter Parker. Now, obviously growing up, not knowing who he is. He grew up without his best friend. He grew up alone, right? Ned has had nobody to talk to. So that could change somebody's mental state. That could change how they feel about things. And if he gets on his hands on some type of tech off anything, we could see him as Hobgoblin. And I want to give Jacob Batalon the shot of like acting chops of the year. You know, goblins are easy to pull off. I mean, not everyone can do it. So now that brings me to, if they do a trilogy, you know, obviously in the first movie we get Tombstone, Scorpion, The Hand, Boomerang, Tarantula, Jean Grey, Savage Hulk, Punt. There's a lot of characters in the first movie. So with all of them in that first movie, and the second movie focusing on maybe Hobgoblin and Mr. Negative. And for the trilogy, I think we wrap it up with the third movie going on the Spider-Man clone saga. I think it would be super cool to include Jackal as a villain in this movie, and along with Alistair Smythe as a villain in this movie, and have the Spider Slayers, Spider Clones. It'd just be a crazy Spider-Man movie. I think with a third movie, you can bring in Kane, you can bring in Ben Reilly, and just have cool Spider-Man, like almost No Way Homey, but like not a nostalgia fest, but just actual clones of Tom Holland. The clone saga would just be so cool. And adding on top of that, you have Alistair Smythe, or Alistair. His name is spelled weird, but I don't want to pronounce it wrong. Alistair Smythe, Smythe, I think. But bring in the Spider Slayer, so you have a bunch of robots that are also trying to defeat Spider-Man. You have a bunch of robots versus a bunch of Spider-Men, and that whole thing. And then also, obviously, defeating Jackal. If you decide to kill off Peter Parker in this storyline, Kevin Feige says they currently don't have any plans for Miles Morales in the Spider-Man storyline. So if they don't want to use Spider-Man and Peter Parker, I think it would be a really cool concept to get some Spider-Man movies with either Ben Reilly or Kane, and maybe even like a duo with them. That's something that like people haven't thought of doing before, but getting a storyline with like somebody that knows they are a clone and what they could suffer with besides what Peter Parker already struggles with, that's a new take on Spider-Man that we would have never seen before. And going forward, if we want to continue past 2 more movies of Spider-Man, that would be a really interesting route to go with. So Brand New Day's just got my brain spinning. Expect more videos from me. I'm not going to make a promise on how many videos I upload this year like I did last year, I think. And I think I ended up saying I was going to do 2 videos a month, and I ended up probably uploading like 4 videos throughout the whole year. Hey, life's busy. Obviously life's busy. So, but I do plan on uploading more videos. But I do appreciate you guys and allowing me to make these videos for you and keep you entertained. But I do appreciate if you guys would leave a comment in the discussion and tell me who you think are the villains could be for the next 2 Spider-Man movies, because there's so many to pick from, really. And I know obviously Sony has used a lot, so you probably can't pick from those. And the other Spider-Man movies used a lot. They really don't want to reuse those. So we have to pick from new characters. So who do you think will be the villains for the next 2 Spider-Man movies if they are made? And what storylines do you think they might adapt with that? But that's really all. See ya.